So as I mentioned, I appreciate everybody taking the time out of their busy day. We're going to just do a presentation, an overview presentation of Sage CRM. Any questions, we'll save some time at the end. So if you can just type your questions into the chat box, and then what we'll do is we'll ask Renee, who is going to be doing the presentation of Sage CRM on behalf of Sage. So at this point in time, Renee, I'll pass it off to yourself.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So what I will be doing today is, as what Sean had mentioned, I'm going to be walking you through a brief presentation to understand exactly the breakout and the makeup of what Sage CRM is, especially for those customers who are potentially net new. And then I will be jumping into an actual demonstration of the solution to give you a true look and feel as to what Sage CRM has and what is being offered today. Now let's jump in now to the presentation. So the way Sage CRM is broken down, and as it says here, it's the heartbeat of any business. So think about it as we journey through today on today's call, how you guys function and operate as an organization today. Okay, so what's the makeup of your organization? Well, that's simply put as to how Sage CRM is broken down. You have your Sage CRM is broken down into 3 buckets. You have your sales bucket, you have your marketing bucket, and then ultimately you have your customer service bucket. So hopefully you could think of an actual ecosystem, how you have your sales, marketing, customer service, all navigating together to create a true circle. Okay, so obviously with our sales, the goal of Sage CRM is to not only record your leads, but be able to take those leads through the entire life cycle of the sale, from promoting it to an opportunity, putting the expected percentage of the close rate, following it through the life cycle of the sale, ultimately to having the deal won. Now, from a marketing standpoint, how are we gravitating towards retaining our leads? How are we getting leads, etc.? How are we doing blast marketing? And with Sage CRM, it has a powerful tool that many of our customers today use and are very successful with, especially if you're looking to start out from a campaign standpoint, and that's with the MailChimp integration. Okay, so it's a built-in functionality within Sage CRM that can assist customers today with blasting out campaigns, and I'll take it a step further when I actually show it to you. Ultimately, customer service. So that's great. A deal's sold from a customer's perspective to one of their customers. But then now, once it's implemented and running, that's great. But usually we always do have a customer service follow-up. So to make and to provide that excellent experience for our customers, this is where we want to offer that customer experience. And Sage CRM actually does a very good job with laying out, based on the severity of cases, based upon the level of the service level agreements that are in place. And all of that is to allow pure visibility through the entire organization. And then ultimately, why Sage CRM is also another benefit is to the ability, as you could see, bullet point number 4, is due to its built-in integration. Okay, so it's due to its extensive capabilities to connect via cloud. Okay, so it's their connected capabilities to outside solutions that puts Sage CRM as a potential top perspective for customers today. Okay, as we move to the next slide, how it can really help your business grow. So the clear-cut answer for Sage CRM, why Sage CRM is so powerful, is the point of it allows for pure visibility within an organization. So how many organizations, many customers that I speak to on a daily basis, they still operate in separate silos. So the goal of Sage CRM is to be able to break those silos, not only be able to allow for pure visibility into the system across all departments, all divisions, all colleagues. You also then have the built-in integration, especially with Sage CRM, into your accounting system, specifically being Sage 300, Sage 100, Sage X3. Okay, so that's built in within the Sage portfolio of products, and it has that clear-cut integration. Okay, and that's something that I'm going to actually be able to show you today as to what's being offered in the current version, as well as the future enhancements that are actually going to be coming. Not only do you have the accessibility to access this information, whether it's a tablet, a desktop, a laptop, but you do also have the accessibility to access the Sage CRM information to a certain extent via a mobile device. Okay, so now let's take just a quick look at screenshots from what are the actual powerful features driving your team's success, especially from a sales perspective. Now this here is something very powerful, and when I had first joined the Sage team and I looked at this, I gravitated right towards that pipeline, that colorful pipeline. Okay, so not only do you see a ton of information on these pages, but what does this information actually portray to you? And as you can see here, you have the ability to filter based on these pipelines what particular point in time is a lead potential opportunity. Is it qualified? Has it been moved to a proposal? Has a proposal been even submitted? Are we at the negotiating stage? And has a sale actually been agreed upon? So not only does a team or an individual have access to this, but managers have access to this to actually see what's going on amongst their team. And then how do we help move from a qualified all the way to a sales agreed? Hopefully we don't have a lot of deals that are lost, but if we do, then that's a good mechanism for especially a manager and a team to get together and say, hey, what could be potentially going on? How do we help things progress forward? Okay, and as you can see the bullet points at the side, on the left-hand side, I'm not going to read them to you, but what this is trying to do is not only give you a ton of information per page, but it's really to allow you that visibility across the entire solution. So no matter, again, what department or division you're in, and due to obviously secure parameters, because this is a secure environment, who has access to what, and ultimately, how do we operate together as an organization? How do we allow that clear visibility amongst each and every person within the organization to be a successful company? Okay. As we move to the next slide, as you can see here, this tells you a little bit more about MailChimp. Okay, and with MailChimp, the things here is it allows for the following. So not only is it a campaign marketing mechanism built within Sage CRM, but it allows the following. So you have the ability to push your Sage CRM contacts into MailChimp. Okay, you have the ability to quickly and easily create new targeted email marketing campaigns in Sage CRM. All right. You also have the ability to send these automatically and add a communication record to the relevant records in Sage CRM. And that's something that I'll talk to you about too as we go through Sage CRM, because each and every area that you click, there is a communication tab. So as these email blasts go out the door, this is noted as an actual communication that went out to this particular company and or person. Okay. It allows you to view a list of MailChimp campaigns in CRM. So it gives you that, again, that clear, valuable insight into results. And as you can see here on the right-hand side where the mouse is, it helps you gain what those results are. How many people opened it? How many people clicked on it? How many emails were actually sent out the door? Okay, because it's great to send out these blast marketing campaigns, but we always sit back and say, well, what happened to those? Obviously, a ton of us know our inboxes get filled quite frequently on a daily basis. It's very easily to be overlooked. Well, this allows you that follow-up too. If people didn't even look at it, you can send another email blast to those several companies that maybe didn't click on it and just say, hey, I just wanted to send up a follow-up. Were you able to actually take a look at this campaign? I'd love to sync back up with you. And then it also allows for segment lists and create groups based on responses for these future campaigns. So again, it allows clear-cut, visible results to help you grow and obviously attach ultimately revenue to these potential campaigns. Okay, so obviously that's the goal. We want to gravitate to our customers, getting them in the door. As we move to the next slide here, this just gives you, again, a little bit of an idea as to what a screenshot looks like for service level agreements. So when you're trying to do your follow-up here, customer service component, you can see here different types of service level agreement statuses. Okay, are we investigating? Are we waiting? Has it been logged? Now, not only do you have the ability to respond and resolve these, but you have the ability to attach documents, to attach cases, to attach solutions. So these here are considered cases that are going to be opened, and then you have the ability to provide those solutions to these cases. And you have the ability to link these to actually other cases that may come down the line, not necessarily relating to this company, but to another company. So we utilize Sage CRM not only from a sales perspective, but really a database warehouse where we can store everything, filter through everything, and then ultimately have it talk bidirectionally to our accounting systems. Again, here's another look too as to potential invoices. And this comes into play heavily when I'm going to actually show you the solution as it integrates with our Sage 300. Okay, so one of the inquiry tools here is the ability to actually see invoice transactions. And as you can see here, this is a Sage 300 transaction detail list for Mr. Ronald Black. And why these are so important is especially for a sales rep who's out meeting customers to really understand what is going on with the customer. What is the history behind this customer detail? What would they like to see? So this here, Sage CRM is really being enhanced to actually be in place and to think about being an actual sales rep out in the field. What do you want to see? You want to see invoices. You want to see sales order entries. You want to see purchase order detail. Any type of inquiry. What's the status, the shipment date? What's the expected invoice? As well as inventory items. Do we have enough to fulfill an order right now, or do we have to pull from a different warehouse, etc.? So it's really speaking to your accounting system from a bidirectional standpoint and really allowing that sales rep to provide that experience to a customer. Here's a little bit of a graphical representation. This here is going to be what you'd actually see from a gadget perspective on the actual dashboard. And these are customizable to each and every person, each and every user. Okay. As you can see here, once again, I did mention here about the accessibility of Sage CRM from a mobile device. There are mobile apps, Sage CRM mobile app. It is limited pretty much to a lead, contact, note functionality, but you do have the ability to access the full Sage CRM from the actual CRM website. Okay, so if you go to how you actually would log into Sage CRM from a desktop or a laptop, you would be able to access it from your mobile device. Keep in mind it is featured agnostic, meaning the depth of what you see on an actual screen is going to be minimal based upon what actual device you're on. Particularly, we have apps for both your Apple iPhones, ISO, as well as your Android devices. Now, let's take a look at Sage 300 Cloud and Sage CRM. Okay, so now dependent upon, and I ask everybody on the call today to think about what version of Sage CRM you're actually operating with today. The one that I'm currently showing you is the latest release of 2018. 2019.2 was actually just released, so we're still in the process of building that into our demo environments, which is going to be released soon for our partners as well as ultimately showing to our customers. But it's still a little bit in the development stage. But this here is what we've actually enhanced greatly. And then I will mention too about some additional features as I actually have been working in the 2019.2 release. So from a CRM inquiry standpoint, this is where you have all those inquiries into not only Sage CRM, but into your accounting system. The quote to order functionality. This is huge here because hopefully many of the folks on the call today also are aware of Sage, the web screens. So when we say Sage 300 Cloud, not only are we talking about Sage 300 web screens, but you also can refer to and utilize the Sage 300 Classic desktop screen simultaneously. What's powerful on Sage CRM is because it is a web-based product, you actually see the quote to order. So you have a quote, you have a potential new order, and those particular screens are the exact replicas of the screens that are in the Sage 300 web screens, okay? So in previous versions, it was not. It replicated the actual Sage 300 classic desktop screens, and now it has been enhanced, and all of this is being done on the back end. And what you see here is now you actually see the same exact entry screens as you do on the web screens. And why I bring that up is because it really helps leverage a learning curve perspective, because many of the customers already know the screens because they've been working in their accounting system, okay? And obviously the technology and the customization around that, I will mention upon the customization as opposed to in Sage 300 classic desktop screens where things are, you'd have to write code for it. The web screens, you do not necessarily have to write code for it, as well as in Sage CRM, the customization is so in-depth, and you can get as in-depth as the customer might need, okay? From an administration standpoint here, there obviously is secure parameters around this. So Sage CRM is deployed the exact same way that Sage 300 is deployed. So Sage CRM is a web-based solution, but it is deployed either on-premise or through a hosted third-party provider. So keeping that in mind, there are administrative rights granted to Sage CRM folks, as well as who has integration into Sage 300, who has that accessibility. Obviously, we want to keep in mind segregation of duties, and typically we would keep our sales folks outside of the accounting solution, but obviously that's an internal discretion. And here I just wanted to give you, I'm going to go into all of this, but I wanted to give you a clear-cut view as to some of the different screens, because obviously this is a presentation that that is being recorded, and we will be able to send this out. So this is more of a reference guide. So as you can see here, you have the ability to filter by the following. You have the ability to change which order in which you'd like to see things, how much you want to see, how minimal you want to see. You have the ability here, this is a particular invoice OE. So all of your order entries for outstanding invoices are right here. If you click on it, it provides a whole nother layer of detail. Okay, again, really emphasizing what a sales rep has from a visibility standpoint. Nowadays on the 2018, and then obviously what's to come in 2019, is so much more in depth, and it really, really fits the needs of a sales rep on the road. Another screen here is particular orders, and as you can start to see, hopefully you see that the layout here, the look and feel of it, is the modernized look and feel. So it's the modernized user interface, again replicating what you see in Sage 300 web screens. As you can see up at the top here, in order to get all this detail, the customer first, the potential opportunity, has to actually have a company as well as a person obviously tied to it. But not only that, you've had to have promoted it to Sage 300. If you do not promote it, you have this option up here to promote it. And then once you promote it to Sage 300 and you actually specify, if you have multiple entities, what entity you're actually going to have this customer reside in, then you'll see those additional inquiries, the AR inquiry, OE inquiry, customer detail, inventory detail. As you can see here, oh, I apologize, I went too fast. Okay, here, the order entry screen, once again, this is the information that you see in the Sage 300, Sage 300 web screens. And up at the top here, this option thing, which I'll show you in a second, that allows for the customization once again. So not only do you have that ability here to see what you want to see, but it also tends to be the same in Sage 300 because they are speaking to each other. It is bidirectional information. Okay, so you have the ability here, a sales rep has that ability to not only create a quote, but they also have the ability to create a brand new order and submit it, and then it'll speak once it submits to the back-end accounting solution that you guys have in place. Again, this here is a potential quote, obviously, and you want to promote it to an order. So you have the ability in CRM to actually just propose quotes, even if they are in fact not a Sage 300 customer, because obviously Sage CRM, this is where we want to flood everything. potentially. So if you have outstanding quotes, obviously we'd always wish to move that quote to an order, but you have the ability to just generate a brand new quote, and it will not flood your accounting system, because obviously we do not want a ton of quotes sitting in the accounting system with no potential revenue associated with that, and then producing, say, when you go to run your trial balances or even your financial statements, all these zero balance lines. Again, that's the order entry screen, and this here is just a glimpse of what the actual data entry is. So once again, it is the exact same information you're entering. Most of the time, because it is bidirectional, various things will flow over, such as customer detail, contact detail, etc. And then you have the ability here, again, the sales rep especially has the ability to see what locations you could ship things from if you have enough of that particular order on hand, or if you have to pull from additional warehouses. You can do multiple line item entries as well. So just keep in mind from an entry standpoint, it is the same. Again, really emphasizing and leveraging that learning curve, because ultimately people are inept to learning something new. So we're really trying to maximize how much it's going to take for a new sales rep or an existing sales rep to get up to speed, okay? And then this here, when you look at an administrative standpoint here, so again, only those employees within a designated organization will have the rights to administrative rights. They're the ones that are going to actually set what rights each and every individual within Sage CRM will have, as well as if they're going to have bidirectional access into your Sage 300 accounting system as well. Okay, as you can see, and what I will be showing you today is administrative rights. So you're going to be able to see actually everything. You're going to be able to see workflows. So you guys are the masterminds behind the functionality of Sage CRM, is going to be the ones that are designated with administrative rights. Keep in mind, though, everybody else will have a ton of information accessible to them based upon their needs to fulfill their jobs. And then again here, this shows you the integration capabilities with your Sage 300. So this is what those inquiry details I was mentioning. This is what you actually see in your Sage CRM. And then keep in mind your vendors as well as customers will be pulling over and bidirectional, okay? So now, without further ado, I'm actually going to move over and jump into actually what Sage CRM looks like. Let's see if I can do this now. Okay, here we go. So hopefully everybody can see. Now I'm already logged in, but what I did want to show you is potentially you would log off, and how you'd access Sage CRM. Obviously, you could see this is a web browser, and you would have a username and defined password. Okay, keep in mind, again, this is the best way to describe the environment of this is a private cloud. So it's, again, either deployed on-premise or through a hosted third-party provider. For those of you who are new to Sage, let's just talk about potentially new to Sage CRM. Let's just talk about navigationally how you actually run through this. So once again, Sage CRM is broken down into 3 buckets. You have your sales bucket, your customer service bucket, as well as your marketing bucket. Up at the top here, My CRM is exactly what it means. It's going to be your CRM, what you're held accountable for, what you're responsible for. This is known as your dashboard. So much like Sage 300, the web screens, when you land on the landing page, you have widgets. Here on this landing page, you have gadgets. And each and every individual, this can be customized to you. You have the ability to actually create brand new dashboards, multiple dashboards, customize it to what you want to see. So you have an example here of a graphical representation, a calendar, list presentations here as to who are my particular companies, who are the contacts associated with them, how am I gravitating toward contacts, and as you can see here, this is all from LinkedIn, as well as what my current opportunities are outstanding. As you can see from the drop-down, you then have the ability to filter through your leads, your contacts, your opportunities. Again, what are those cases and that's the customer service standpoint, as well as them providing solutions. And then this is the ability to have document storage. So you have the ability here to have emails stored. You can have documents stored. You can save it as an Excel, PDF, whatever type of format to really get that historical trail going for each company and contact. Now let's move over to the right, Team CRM. This here is going to be what's going to be visible from a team perspective. Okay, most of the time this is going to be utilized by managers and upper management. From a team perspective, what does their team have going for them from a lead perspective? What's outstanding from an opportunity perspective? And then you can actually see a whole list of calendars as to what's to come for each and every person. Reports. This is pretty important here because not only do you have the ability to run all of this information, but and see all of this information on a day-to-day basis, but what do we actually do with this information? So this here allows you the ability to actually run specific reports, and then you have the ability to save them outside, meaning they are generated usually in Excel, and you have the ability to edit them and then save them as well as email them out, etc. And you have the ability to email them directly out of Sage CRM, as well as the email integrations built into Sage CRM. So Sage CRM has a native integration with Outlook, but there have been integrations made with Google, so with your Gmail accounts, etc. And then the marketing. Once again, that comes full circle with the MailChimp integration. And then you have the ability to actually look at your campaign lists, your email marketing, and then what actually happens with those emails, okay? Over here, as we move further over to the right, you have your search functionality. So the best way to think of Sage CRM and how to navigate through it is in 3 clicks or less. Okay, so that's really how we've built it. And when I say we, Sage, it's usually 3 clicks or less, because as you could see here, once I start going through it, each time I click, it adds another layer of information, additional options, additional icons. And so in order to get back to things, you always have the ability to search, and you can search by the following. It searches throughout the entire database to pull up those corresponding potential leads, opportunities, contacts, as well as persons associated with that. Alerts here. This is going to be all of your outstanding notifications, what's to come, what's expired, typically, obviously, what's to come. And then you have the discretion to dismiss all, or if you do want to turn off this function as well. But this here looks at everything going on within your Sage CRM system, and it will provide the corresponding alerts. So obviously, this is a cool functionality from a reminder standpoint, because obviously all of our days get swept away very easily. You also have your favorite icon. Okay, so anytime you've been working on things heavily, you do have the ability to store things obviously as a favorites. This here is going to be your recents. So as you can see here, I have been working with a ton of different companies and working through them, creating new leads, creating new opportunities, etc., to build my historical data within Sage CRM. Okay. And then over here, anytime you rather not filter through like this, you have the ability to simply press the green button, and that allows you the following. Okay, so you could generate a brand new company, a new person, a new solution, etc. Sage CRM also has the ability, because as you're thinking through this, especially if we have customer service reps on the phone, we do have, through additional integration capabilities, the CTI integration, so the call telephony integration. So that's if, customers call in and the phone will recognize, as soon as you answer the phone, it'll pull up the corresponding information pertaining to that particular customer within Sage CRM. So again, a powerful feature that is in fact available. Okay, so that's pretty much how to actually navigate through. So now let's take a look at the sales cycle as what I had mentioned in the actual PowerPoint presentation. So where we actually go for that is under, I'm showing you my CRM. Actually, and I apologize, before I do that, so as I had mentioned, I'm administrative. So let's just take a look at this. Now, if you do not have administrative rights, you will only see preferences, the Sage CRM community, as well as log off. Now, the Sage CRM community is a very powerful learning tool as well. It's something that's available to each and every person. And I actually utilize this all the time. Okay, so a user community, a partner community, it gives you the latest and greatest, what's to come, what other customers are experiencing, any questions you might have as to has this been created, has that been created. And there are 2 Sage employees that do a very, very good job as to responding to all the inquiries that come in from a customer standpoint. From an administrative standpoint, for those of you who will be given administrative rights, if you click on administration, this is where you see the following, and this is why you'll understand why this is not accessible to each and every person. Obviously, this is confidential information. This is customer detail as well as employee detail to a certain extent. From a user standpoint, this is where you're going to actually turn on and turn off the rights of those designated people. Under advanced customization, as well as customization, but advanced customization is your workflows. And this is pretty cool because you as an organization have the ability to set how you actually want your workflows. So think about Sage 300. Sage 300 is modular based. You have your financial bundle as well as your operational and distribution bundles. Well, the workflows here are kind of replicating that. Okay, and the best way to look at Sage CRM too is think about all of these as different modules within the various main topics within Sage CRM. So here, if we look at opportunity workflow, this is what the workflows mean. Okay, so this is where you would work very closely with IWI, and they would get this up to speed exactly how you want the workflow being done. So think about how you have your actual operations and what the workflows are today from an organizational standpoint. Well, Sage CRM can in fact replicate that. Also, this is a good time to rethink about the current processes you have in hand, and if new processes in fact need to be revised or edited, this gives you a great fresh start to actually do that. Okay, so from a starting standpoint, how you want things run from a review standpoint before it gets escalated into, you know, a new opportunity. Do you want your manager or your boss to review things, make sure they have budgets, etc., all the way down to the actual deal is negotiated, quoted, sold, or unfortunately lost. And once again, you have the ability to edit this once you are brought up to speed and learn exactly how to actually set it up, how it works, how it's actually pushed out through Sage CRM. You have the ability as an organization to change this, to simply change the workflow or edit the workflow at any point in time. And this will be pushed out amongst all of the users within Sage CRM. And once again, you have the ability to change that for each and every one. So if we look at just another one, for example, if we look at a solution workflow, you could see here the workflows look much different than the actual opportunity. Okay, so here if it's approved or rejected, because these are cases. Okay, so this here, keep in mind what particular area you are in CRM and how you want things set up. Okay, but this is something that this is an overview today, and then obviously with specific questions and stuff, that's where IWI and then I myself, obviously working with IWI, will be able to assist and take you guys through things much in more depth. So this here is kind of your navigational functionality standpoint. This is where you get the approvals, the setup, the user configurations, etc. Okay, so obviously you could see here the Sage 300. This here is where you have your Sage 300 integration. And this is where I come into play because not only do I specialize with Sage CRM, but I specialize with Sage 300. So now let's take a look at our opportunities. Now this here is our sales cycle. This here is going to tell you not only have these leads been leads, but we've actually moved it to the next step. Okay, we've actually qualified these leads and they in fact are potential opportunities. As you can see here, you also have the ability to always filter. You always kind of want to filter based on all. So as you can see here, these are all potential opportunities outstanding. As you can see, there's 15 opportunities here, but as we filter through, it takes these 15 opportunities and it stages them according to the colored pipeline, where they actually are. You also have the ability here to see what stage these are as well from a list perspective, but I personally gravitate towards color and towards a graphical representation. Not only do you have the ability to see these opportunities, but you have the ability to see the corresponding revenue associated with these opportunities. Obviously, this is in US dollar. I'm based in the United States. I always work with US dollar. This is why this is in US dollar, but it does have the whatever type of currency. So it supports Canadian currency as well as the synchronized currencies that you would be working with within Sage 300. It will correspond and correlate to those synchronized currencies in Sage CRM. So let's just click on here. We're going to go to proposals submitted. So now it helps you filter through, okay? And I'm under my CRM. So not only do I have administrator rights, not only am I potentially a manager of my team, but I also have responsibilities as well. And I'm going to be responsible for my opportunities and obviously taking them through to closing deals, okay? Because my boss wants to actually see what's my revenue, what's my average projected revenue according to my average projected forecasting, okay? And how am I doing compared to my forecast? So as you could see here, this helps you gravitate and navigate through all of these different areas. If I have them in qualified stages, now I can say, hey, I better follow up with this particular customer. We're still only in a qualified state. I really need to take them through. So let's click on this. If we click on the 20 user deal, now you can start seeing additional information. Okay, so obviously you could see it's qualified. It's assigned to myself, and in the Sage CRM system, I'm Susan May. So Susan May starts her day out. She's responsible for her opportunities. She's responsible for her team. She's trying to move all the leads, opportunities, obviously over to expected closes. We're trying to target all of these closes within month end. And obviously month end is approaching quickly. So how do we help move these along? We have a certainty here, percentage rate of 100% that we're going to close this date by, we're going to pretend that that says 2019. So by the 28th of September, we're expected to close this particular deal with an estimated value of $17,256. At the bottom here, this is also something that comes into play too if you're out meeting with customers, okay? So you could see here a quoted amount. You could see a pending amount. Have they placed an order? Has it been shipped yet? And ultimately, has it been invoiced? This here, aside from the quote amount and the order amount, this is what a sales rep would have access to actually enter in Sage CRM. The shipment amount, as well as the invoice amount, that's going to be done in the back-end office. That's going to be done in your accounting system. So once Sage 300 recognizes this and actually ships the goods associated with that order, then you will see the shipment amount as well as the potential invoice. Okay, and all this starts to come in play in a few minutes when I get to that in a second. One thing to note though, however, is this customer a Sage 300 customer at this particular point in time? And the answer is no. Up at the top here, this is your indicator. Is it a Sage 300 company? No, there's no associated company name, nor is there an associated customer number associated with your company, okay? So this here, anytime you're changing things, this is just an opportunity. We have not promoted this to Sage 300 at this point in time, okay? You could see here communications. Has there been communications to this customer? There has in fact been. We sent a letter out actually to Tony Smith on June 3rd of 2018, okay? The user is myself, and we sent a quotation. Well, we need to start building more historical communications regarding to this particular customer. So let's create a brand new task. And then we can say, hey, what additional information have we sent? Did we send an email? Right from here, you have the ability to click on new email, make a new appointment with them. You want to do a follow-up call, a demo, provide them with maybe, latest and greatest features of something to follow up with them, or create new tasks. Okay, and that's going to set the reminder that you have outstanding tasks that are potentially pending with this particular customer. Up at the top here, you then have documents. Are there any associated documents here? Simply put, you have the ability to upload or merge documents to Word, to PDF. Simply add a file. drag drop functionality. Outside of the system, you have the drag drop functionality within Sage CRM, and it's going to be stored and associated with this particular company, okay? Any tracking details or any quotes. So obviously you could see here, I have tracked this heavily from a lead, qualified, negotiated, sales, agreed. And what's the certainty here? Now we actually have to just go ahead and really close and really implement this deal so we have the recognized revenue, okay? Now, as you see, as I clicked further through this particular customer, this company, I should say, you had the additional tasks. Every time you click through Sage CRM, you have those associated given tasks up at the top. Okay, this here helps you navigate through Sage CRM and where everything comes full circle. Again, gaining that visibility. Now, from a manager standpoint, especially from a opportunity standpoint here, from a team perspective, if we look at forecasting, I want to go to here. If we click on, it's okay, I'm going to switch. Let's go back to my CRM for a second. And let's go back to opportunities. Okay, so we see here forecasted amount. Now, one thing I want to do, I'm going to just jump over to here. Okay, so you have my CRM. This is how you filter through it. You have your team CRM. So let's look at team CRM perspective here. So now, not only do you have the ability to see what your team is having, where your team stands right now, but you have the ability to see the forecasted amounts for your team. Under reports, you have the ability to run specific reports, especially from a forecasting standpoint, to see where the actual forecast hit. Now, forecasts are broken down into 4 quarters, obviously quarterly. So where we're projecting our forecasting to be, and then ultimately where we actually end up. Okay, so you can run reports as to actual versus targeted, actual versus forecasted. You know, those are all reports that you set, and it will actually pull the information. So much like Sage Intelligence reporting, where it looks at your database and it pulls the corresponding information, Sage CRM does the exact same thing. Okay, so now let's take a look at Mr. Rana Black, because I want to show you the Sage 300 integrations. And this is very, very important. Okay, so as we can see here, now Mr. Rana Black, I searched by him, by his company. Not only is it his name, but it's also his company. And this here is the indication here that I have in fact promoted this to Sage 300. He resides in my sample company limited. So if you have multiple entities within your organization, you have the discretion to set not only the customer number, but what company this is going to be applicable to, because obviously each company may have different customer numbers, okay? So here he's customer 1200. He's customer 1200 in Sage CRM, and he is customer 1200 in my Sage 300 accounting system. So up at the top here, so if a sales rep is out on the road, and I'm out on the road, I, Susan May, am meeting with Mr. Rana Black, and I start and I type in this information, this is what I see on hand. If I simply want to change it, I simply click on change, and now I have the corresponding drop-down functionalities, okay? So we really try to help eliminate room for error and simply have drop-down features, functionality, where it's easy to click and move on. Now, I'm going to go back one because I don't want this to change. And up at the top here, now you can see the corresponding boxes. AR inquiry, OE inquiry, item inventory over here. Now this item inventory I'm going to start with, okay, because obviously we need inventory on hand in order to fulfill orders, then ultimately to see purchase orders. If we have no inventory on hand, nothing's going to be able to move forward. So just bear with me 1 second because my server is running a little slow. But this here is going to look at the item inventory that's available today. Is it its own inventory? And the answer is no. It's pulling your inventory right from Sage 300. So what resides in Sage 300 is going to be pushed over into Sage CRM. As you fulfill orders, it's going to decrease that particular inventory on hand, as well as be reflected in your Sage 300. In your Sage 300, that's where you have the ability to do those reorder quantities in your inventory, and you can set the min-max levels to hit and register when things start to get low. So as you can see here, our favorite fluorescent desk lamps, you can see here the standard location is a central warehouse from location 1. The quantity on hand is 137. We had to place a purchase order of 250 to replenish that. We have 15 on sales order. As you move over, has there been a quantity committed or average days to ship? Nothing has been shipped just yet, and nothing has been potentially committed at this point in time. Okay, so this here helps start the sales rep to always make sure that they have things readily available and readily on hand. As you can see here, when I open this is where all the default settings are pretty much set and carried over from your Sage 300 accounting system. Okay, a question that I get all the time is, can you change and set new price lists in Sage CRM? And the answer to that, the best answer would be no, okay, because you need it synced somewhere. And your Sage 300 is your master database. So that's where things are ultimately going to reside and be pushed into Sage CRM, okay? You can, in fact, change numbers and stuff and amounts on a quote, but you have to make sure it's recognizable in your accounting system or else it will populate an error. Okay, so as you can see here, this here is all the same information like I had mentioned again, because I'm really trying to help you guys really see the visibility as to what a sales rep has on hand. Up at the top here, this option, this is where the customization comes into play. Just like in Sage 300, you have the ability to see as much information or as little information, okay? Sometimes little is best for the sales rep, but again, that's an internal discretion. So this here is your inventory item. Now, if I want to click on the AR inquiry, this is what I have accessible at my fingertips today. This is real-time information, okay? So again, this is something that's important. Typically, what you'd have to refresh is you'd have to refresh your reports, okay? So if I want to see particularly, let's just click over to OE because that's going to resonate more with you guys. But let's look at all orders, okay? This here is very, very powerful. Customers could not believe that they had access to this information now. This is something that never existed before, and they have this access now. Not only do you have access to looking at Sage CRM from a quote perspective and order perspective, but a lot of customers actually have been utilizing Sage CRM from a purchase order standpoint, purchase order management standpoint, okay? Your PO management type is what they're referring to it as. And why is because of the following. They have this insight, okay? It's no longer a black hole. They have the ability to actually click on a particular order and see that history for this particular customer, okay? You have your expected ship dates. You have all the information that is on hand right now. You could see here, they have this particular order. This order was posted back in January. It consisted of the following. This was the information on hand, okay? So the quantity on hand from all the different warehouses at that point in time. So if there was a question, if a customer unfortunately says, look, I never received this information, blah, blah, blah. So you could say, well, we in fact had it, there was enough information there was enough stock on hand. I apologize for whatever had happened, etc. But you have that insight. You have the ability to see this information. You're not meeting with a customer and saying, I'm really sorry, I don't have that information on hand. I'm going to have to get back to you, okay? Obviously, these icons down at the bottom should resonate and replicate what's in your Sage 300 solution as well. Keep in mind the pre-authorization, quick pre-authorize and prepayment. This is all information that is being stored in your Sage 300 through the Sage Exchange Vault. So again, it's that 16-digit alphanumeric code that has the corresponding credit card information on hand. It is not the actual credit card number. Obviously, due to security parameters regarding the credit card industry, So there is secure parameters around that, but this is all residing in your Sage 300, not in your Sage CRM. Okay. And then as well, you have, if we go back one, you have the ability to see, I might have to click on this again. Okay, so you have the ability to see all shipments, all invoices, any credit debit notes, sales history. This is also very cool too, is the whole sales history behind this particular customer. Okay, so you can see the quantity sold to this customer, if there was any returned amounts, what designated currency. So again, it synchronizes the currency, so you will see what designated currency things reside upon. And then the same thing goes for the AR inquiry. You could see the following: any posted transactions, unposted, any receipts, as well as age trial balances. Also, customer detail. Customer detail, you will be able to see the following. Just bear with me one second. You could see this particular information. Okay, so this is information here. You have the ability to update this here, or obviously it pulls over from your Sage 300 accounting system as well. So certain information you'll be able to see within and change in Sage CRM, and certain information you will not be able to do. Okay, but the goal of Sage CRM is to, number one, enhance the visibility, number two, enhance the connectivity, and number three, be able to access all of this information, especially from a sales cycle perspective, and allow the sales reps to have all this information at their fingertips to meet and provide that successful and excellent experience with your customers today. So this here wraps up a quick glimpse and overview. Again, this was very, very high level, but it kind of gives you a look and feel as to what Sage CRM has, how powerful it is, and ultimately how it integrates seamlessly with your Sage 300 today. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Sean, and I'll open it up for any questions you guys might have.
So feel free to type in any questions if you have any. We're going to wrap this up in a couple minutes. There is a couple questions now. One was somebody was asking, can the CRM be installed on the same server as their Sage 300?
And the answer is yes.
Yes. And then I have another question came in. I believe you touched on this, but I'll ask it anyway, and you can just explain. Is there some type of alert system that will pop up with reminders for tasks that need to be completed, etc.?
Yes. That typically is going to be set up within the workflow. And then how that resonates is as you go through your Sage CRM and you're working in it day to day, the alerts functionality up here, it's notifications. And as things are coming due, any meetings you have set, any emails that went out the door, any follow-ups, you indicate all that, and that populates here. And one by one, you have the ability to dismiss each one or dismiss them all.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe that is it for questions. So once again, thank you very much, Renee, for your time. This was definitely beneficial. Thank everybody for attending, and I do believe pretty much everybody attending. A few of you, I did have discussions with you in the last couple of days, so you know, everybody pretty much that is on there actually does have access to Sage CRM. Comes with Sage 300 will come with the CRM server and one user. So it's a good way to get it installed and start playing with it. And IWI can go in deeper about your requirements if you should so choose. Okay, so with that being said, we'd like to thank everybody for the day again, and we wish everybody a good remainder of the day.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.